I started a brand new account on X Twitter for my books, my novels. Not all my books, just the novels. So I started a brand new one. It has no data about me. I haven't liked anything. I haven't watched anything. It's just brand new. No data behind it. And every time I open it to post something, it is so dark and perverted.
It's shocking, right?
It's shocking. Welcome
to another episode
of Driving to the Rest
with your favorite hosts, Larry and
Inelia.
I have to get it out of there fast or else I might say your name wrong. Although I've practiced.
You have practiced.
Yep, I've practiced. We've been together, what now, 10 years or so?
Yeah.
You'd think in that much time I would have figured it out.
Yeah, and we've known each other for longer.
Much.
14 years or something.
14 years or 14 millenniums.
Yes.
But that's another story.
That's another story.
I want to talk about this year. Reviewing
2024.
Yeah, we're
halfway there.
Coming to the halfway point.
Yes.
Ish. It's June, January, February, March, April, May. June is 6. 6 is half of 12.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much halfway.
Pretty much.
So one of the caveats to looking forward to a year is if things remain the same, right?
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Oh, I've never looked at the caveat of looking at the next year.
Looking forward to the next year.
Yeah, to see if they remain the same. That was never the equation for me because nothing remains the same. Nothing literally remains the same.
The mere act of looking at it changes it?
The mere act of existing changes it.
So is it a exercise in futility to look forward into the potential futures then?
Looking at potential futures is different to looking at if it remains the same.
Well, I know it's a stretch to go from one to the other, but I guess you have to go in my brain.
Okay, let's go into your brain. Tell us what you mean.
What I was meaning was if you look at the future, let's say these are the tendencies of the future that's likely to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's based on today, now, the way things are. But if tomorrow, since they will change, and the next day they'll change, and maybe, well, I guess it's going to change no matter what. Mm-hmm. But what I mean about change is that the
outcome is different.
The arc of things that orchestrated that happening, whatever that looking forward thing was, may have been altered themselves from what they originally going to be.
Can I do a reveal here?
Okay.
I don't look into the future. I do not reveal the future. When I look at 2024, what I look at and I reveal is what's planned by us.
Oh!
What's planned as a human collective? What are we planning for the next year? That's what I look at and reveal. What are the plans?
What are the plans?
Yes, and what are the things to look out for, to watch and see that indicate that the plans are coming
to fruition?
Yes.
In other words, whatever you have planned is actually being carried out and not been like, never mind that plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes they fall flat on their faces, the plans. Sometimes they get a lot bigger than we expected. All the things, yes. That's what I do.
All the things. Okay. So, in a sense, we are having a look at the plans for the future. Mm-hmm. Yes. Not the actual future. Although...
Because you can't. You can't look at the actual future because there's so many possibilities and so many timeline, that happen, or one aspect, one decision that you make will change your entire future. So,
and knowing about the future,
there's a most probable future. Yeah. And when I do the cards, say for a person, or we do a session for a person, we look at their probable future depending on what they're doing right now. And when they change that, of course, or you can, if they say, I don't like that future, can you tell me how to change it? Then you start looking with the cards or whatever's to see what can they do to change it so that they get the result that they actually want for that future. But looking at 2024 and before 2023, 2022, etc., those are actually looking at the plans that we have as a human collective for the next year. Very different things.
So glad you cleared that up.
So different things. Very, very different things. And I cleared it up again.
Well, you know how many times you need to clear it up?
For you?
Not for me.
Probably forever.
No, I got it.
We'll probably have this conversation in December again.
I got it from here on out.
Yes. I think you said that last time too. In December 2023, I released the Inelia Looking at 2024 live call and video. The first part was self-censored to fit with the requirements of non-disclosure at YouTube and other social media. The second part is behind a paywall, hosted at our own server so that it cannot be taken down. And FYI, the paywall is just $8 a month.
$8. Thank you.
It's like a nothingness, but it's enough to keep it for the people who actually want to see it.
Right. And that's a pretty big distinction.
Mm-hmm. And when we did the actual call, I can't remember how much it was. I think it was something like that to join it. In this article and the podcast that accompanies it, I will skim over the information I revealed in the December 23 at a public level. And during the deep dive in the second part of this podcast, we can go into the uncensored items and information that we did behind the wall.
Right. In the second hour, we have an expert panel with us.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be like real
architect, engineer, doctor. Yeah. A corporate
genius.
Genius.
Okay. My look at the year ahead is also from two perspectives. One is what the dark workers are up to on Earth, and the other is what the light workers are up to, or should be up to, during the same time frame. And I thought we could add a little bit of commentary around that one. What should we be up to? Because, oh my gosh, it's like pulling teeth, man.
It seems like the light workers' primary occupation is, what are those dark workers up to?
No, I think it's probably sitting on the sofa with their clicker.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
You're
they
right.
They do find themselves very interested in what the other team's up to.
They do.
In the sense of, how can I block it, obstruct it? In other words, they're paying a lot of attention to what the dark workers are planning.
And they usually see themselves as victims, so that the world is victims of those dark workers.
Right, and they often need to save people from it.
Yes.
Because, of course, they don't know themselves what experience they want to have. We know better for them.
Right.
What experience they came for, right?
Right, of course. We know better than their higher self. Yes.
So we find ourselves interjecting ourselves where we are so desired, right? Mm-hmm. And telling them the right way to be thinking.
Yes.
Well, there is a right way to be thinking. Just ask me.
And that's part of it. You know, the other thing about light workers is that they hate to be told what to do. Right? And
they sure do bristle at it.
You should have seen the amount of reaction that I got in 2019, which was the first time I put out a video telling light workers what to do.
I know. It was like,
oh my gosh. It was insane.
I'm a sovereign being. I'll decide what I'll do.
Yes.
Like, well, you better get your patootie busy doing it then.
Yes, and a lot of it was, you know what to do, so do
that
it.
was amazingly prescient. That prescient? Tall, yeah, prescient. You know that word?
No.
Prescient is ability to look forward. So in 2019, you put out a call, right?
Yes.
For the light workers to create their own structures, for their own support networks, for their own schools and jobs, and et cetera,
all
right?
The things, yes.
And it was amazingly prescient because in a few short months, practically the entire planet shut down.
Yeah, and you needed those.
And you needed those things. Mostly, find your tribe, find your support network, find your thing, set up your food, set up your water, set up your job, set up your income, set up your house, set up your education system, all of those things. So that why you don't get swept up in the plans of the, I guess we would say
the human collective. No. We planned it too. We're participants, right?
Right.
The split is not one-sided. It's two-sided.
Either way.
There's two sides to the split.
Either way, there was a whole lot more action on the Lightworker side after than before.
I don't understand.
The call to action,
Oh, yeah. So when I first put that call to action, a lot of the action was, don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm unsubscribing from your channel.
It was quite funny.
It's like, whatever. And the action of actually setting up new educational systems and new job systems and new and communication systems and work and all the things did happen after, like, a year or so after the whole crisis started. So
then it made a lot more
pre-warned.
sense.
Some people actually did start it, and they were very thankful. So, oh my gosh, it's like...
I'm not saying everybody, but you know what I'm saying, in general.
Yeah.
I'm sure we
can have a little moan.
We can all see a little bit of that in ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. We like to have a little moan.
A little moan.
Yeah. Okay, during the public section, I gave some bookmarks to watch out for 2024. These bookmarks indicate the split is happening according to the larger human collective scheduled plan. During the private session, there are more bookmarks that I can't talk about publicly. Not because I don't want to, because I do, but because the ears don't want to hear it, don't allow it in their networks.
Yeah.
I got another strike yesterday on YouTube. Did you?
No, honey. Yeah. Why do you keep trying to tell people who don't want to hear stuff?
Well, it was from 2017 or something.
You should have known way back then. Right up here. We want to see that up here right now.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
Yes. That's one of those bristles, It's bristling a little bit because it is. It's like,
there is a way for you
raised.
to get the information. You do have a way to get it, but
well, you know how it is. We were raised to believe we have like free country, free, etc., all the other stuff, right? Which was a beautiful fantasy.
Yes.
But we really believed it.
You did. When I met you, you totally believed all that stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean, that fantasy was one that's held dearly by many. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's on all sides of the countries. Like every country's people has their own feeling about it, that they are the this or that. But here, in the USA, we're supposed to be about no censorship and no blah, blah, and that kind of thing. And then
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is one of our inalienable rights, the Bill of Rights, and all this stuff,
the right to demonstrate.
Yeah, and then we observe those things not happening or not being true. And then we think that, we're in some unique time in history where all of a sudden these rights aren't rights anymore. But if you look in history, it was a repeat of 100 years ago. It wasn't different then, and 50 years ago, and 20 years ago, and each war and each time there's the same type of
thought police. I remember years ago I watched a documentary, like recordings from, I think it was the 1950s, could have been, where in Hollywood there were like trials about being a communist.
Right.
And they were bringing people in from Hollywood and asking them, have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Right. And I always thought, what is that got to do with the price of bread? It's like, I don't understand. Well, why are they doing that, right, in the movies? And I remember there was a big deal with the Charlie Chaplin. And
it was one of the biggest deals on him.
And all sorts of things. And I think the people that were, or that they couldn't prove that they weren't, were put in jail and stuff, Or
they were
cancelled and all these things. And you can see that now with other topics that we can't talk about. Like, and it's going to be like the bleep, bleep, bleep.
And the blop, blop.
The bleep and the blap, yeah.
Even though now some are allowed to talk about it.
Yes.
But why? Who knows? Either way, irrelevant.
Right.
There are agendas at play that always have been, and it's the same agenda and it's the same play.
Yeah.
Only we think it's a new a new one,
Yeah.
because it's our first time experiencing it, maybe. Mm-hmm. But for some of us, maybe our second or third. For you, maybe you've been seeing it for a while. It's like,
You know, when I first came to the US in 2004, I think it was, it took me a while to get here because what I had learned about the United States is that it was the most violent place on the planet that did not value life. I mean, every single show they had drive-by shootings and extreme poverty in the cities, people starving, no education, no jobs, and just like gangs ruling the streets and killing anybody they wanted. And so it's like, oh, would you like to come to the USA? I was terrified.
you were?
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there. And I remember when my boyfriend at the time invited me over, he worked 2 years on me to get me over here. 2 years. And then when he finally succeeded, I landed in, I think it was a San Francisco airport. And his sister-in-law was there with him. And I was like looking around, you know, imagining that I'd be shot any moment, you know. And I walked down the electrical thing and she looked at me and she said, and I said, I think one of the first things is like, she said, oh yeah, that is all the welcome and everything. And says, okay, let's go and get to the car. And I looked at her and I says, is it in a car park? And then she said, yeah. Says, is it going to be safe? I mean, do we have to take precautions? And then she's like, what?
Bulletproof vest, maybe?
Yeah, like, are we going to get shot? I mean, how do we make sure we don't get shot? And she laughed and laughed, and, you know, my boyfriend laughed, and it's like, well, what are you talking about? And it's just, well, this is what I know here. This is what happens, you know? And it's like, no, that doesn't happen here. It's like, I mean, it does, but it's very unusual, and this and this and the other. And it's like, it took me like months to be convinced, because in the news, they'll be like, even down the street, somebody was shot in an apartment and all these things. So, but then after years went by and I started looking at the political structure and the sort of social structure and what people could and couldn't do and everything, I came to realize that it was literally the most oppressed country I had ever been in. And I'd lived under like dictatorships, so I know what a oppressed population is. But the oppression that I saw and witnessed here was not from the perspective of, we're going to shoot you if you speak the wrong word, or we're going to put you in jail if you speak the wrong word, which now they're doing. But it was subtle, right? More subtle, yeah. So we're going to, like, the cancel culture, that was in place 20 years ago, you know, and more.
They had literal public lynch mobs.
Yeah.
Say the wrong thing or be the wrong whatever, right, and you're going to be strung up on a tree.
Yeah.
At least that's what we heard. I don't know if it's true or not, though. And,
you know, there's certain words that you couldn't say because your color of your skin was wrong. For you to say that word, I was like, what? I don't understand. I mean, I thought this was free speech and stuff. Why can't I say that word? Because you're not that color. You can't say that word. I was like, whoa, that is a level of oppression that is just insane. And then the level of oppression of culturally thinking that you're from a race or a color or a class that has no rights or that doesn't have value or whatever's, you know. To me, I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
When I was experiencing those same things, I didn't think it was anything unusual. I thought that was how it's supposed to be. I thought Russians were trying to kill us, of course, and hated us for our, you know, unique freedom and rights and all that other stuff. Because obviously they would hate us for that. Yeah.
So the self-censoring that we're doing right now doesn't happen behind the paywall. And the paid wall is so tiny, it's like a bonus, a token, to allow us to host the videos and the calls and the podcast somewhere else. So the whole idea, it's like also the way in which an individual will go into a reality matrix within the larger reality based on their whatever's coming up in their computers, on their favorite social media pages, or their favorite channels on television, all that stuff, it's like all of it is a control system. So that's why during the public session, I gave some information, and then on the private session parts of it, I gave another one. We're still doing that with our podcast, right? On the second part, we are able to deep dive and not censor ourselves. We can talk about everything.
Plus, we brought an extra expert panel.
Yes,
to look at these questions, these topics,
and expands
from some very professional, different perspectives, right?
And it expands everything so much more, right?
Yeah. Way worth it.
Yeah.
I was going to say though, it turns out the Russians didn't hate us for our unique freedoms and all that. We were on a ship one day, and we went to a big festival. It was a giant Coast Guard ship, and there was a Russian ship there. And guess what?
What?
They got to come over to our ship and visit, and we got to go to theirs and visit. And guess what we found out? Neither one of us hated each other. They thought we hated them.
Oh.
And we thought they hated us.
Oh.
But both of us were like, hey, you're just guys on boats, same as us. Mm-hmm. You want to trade badges on your hats? So we all end up with hat badges.
Okay, shall we go to the public bookmarks?
If you want, yes. Let's go some of the public bookmarks.
Yes. Let's see which ones have already come
to be.
To see what plans are actually on schedule. So that the public bookmarks were Bill Gates comes back in the news. I haven't seen that happen, but I don't really watch the news.
It's tough to measure that one, but I've seen him pop in.
Mm-hmm. Obama makes a comeback in the news.
Several times. He made a whole movie.
Oh, that's true. He made a movie.
A delightful tale about Tesla.
Was that this year?
Tesla buck yards. Yeah. I think so. I don't remember.
People in monkey suits. I haven't seen that one. Although one person did say that they started seeing it. There was a couple of really extremely violent movies with people in monkey costumes. Link between E.T. and religion. Return of the Mother, the Devil. That has been huge. Actually, it's quite surprising how big that one is. Apple hints at their latest technology being E.T. in nature with words such as out of this world or similar ideas. Now, this is a little bit, to me, a little bit confusing. They haven't done that yet, but they did do Apple hints at their latest technology being all AI. And I watched a couple of their ads for their new technology that came out this year. And it's almost like it's technology that can't be developed by anyone else. Right? So they're not exactly saying ET, but it's very ET looking.
I remember one of the patents they had filed for the iPad had ET's fingers as the fingers that they were using to demonstrate the touching the pad. Yeah. The finger was
really?
ET finger, yeah.
When did that happen?
When the iPad first came out.
Oh, it's like 3 years ago?
iPad came out a lot more than a few years ago.
20 years ago?
I couldn't say 20, but I think 10-ish anyways.
I think maybe it might have been 20.
Oh, wait, 20, yeah, it might be.
Oh my gosh. Okay, another one was exhaustion and being tired, drama, fatigue, overwhelm. Yeah. And then
I can see that.
AI used to create a split between fear of AI and AI is the best thing ever.
That's like a Trump's the worst thing, best thing, or Biden is the best thing, worst thing, or...
Yes, a split between
people with a very strongly held position.
Yes, very strongly held positions. So far, what I have personally seen on the above lists are link between ETs and religion, for sure, exhaustion and being tired, drama, fatigue, and AI used the split between the fear of AI and the AI is the best thing ever. I've seen those. Okay, let's go to the link between ETs and religion.
Okay.
That has been coming up in Fast and Furious. I've also been surprised about how prolific this particular bookmark has been in the first half of this year. The top podcasters are covering it, large TV networks and live streams, and popular social media such as YouTube and TikTok. So, let me just put that to the side, because I'm very interested in this. So, this ETs and religion. How, when, what,
Even the Vatican's got their coming out about it.
Well, they started that last year.
They just had another one just recently.
Yeah.
Big to do about it. I didn't really pay attention.
Big to do, because the last time it wasn't that big.
No, this time was a bigger to do about it. And it was a UAP. It was about that specifically. How are Catholics supposed to respond to UAPs? The phenomenon.
The phenomenon.
Not
no
the
longer
object.
an object.
The
phenomenon. Because phenomenons can be spirits and angels and demons.
Indeed.
That's phenomenon.
That's why it's a phenomenon now.
Yes.
Which is the step towards putting it into this religious construct.
You know what else I have found interesting?
Yes.
I think I talk about... Let me see if I talk about this here or not. Because we like to keep it, Yeah, I think we'll talk about it now anyways. Okay. So what I find interesting is that a lot of the podcasters that we listen to have been going religion. They've been born again.
They've been getting converted.
Yeah. And they bring a lot of people in who say, what was it, people that are not religious? Don't believe in
agnostic or atheistic?
Atheist, yeah. I used to be an atheist, but after studying the Bible, or studying the Quran, or studying Buddhism, now I know there's a God, and that God is the creator, and the only good thing about the planet is Jesus. Whatever. Those type of lines
started to come in.
Yeah. And it's shocking to me. It's like...
Me too.
What? And it's usually linked with ETs. I haven't heard one of those without an ET equation involved in it. Whether it is in ancient times, or it is in the Bible, or it is now, and they're the angels and gods and whatnot.
Yeah, if you look in the alien ET UFO current, you will almost uniformly find in the large names some form of religion attached to it. Like communion, used to be gray aliens in a spaceship, and now it's
the book
malevolent.
Communion.
Yeah, malevolent.
Okay. I thought you said communion that's something that Catholics do.
No, you don't want to.
Okay, the book Communion.
The book Communion.
Used to
Whitley
be an ET.
Whitley Strieber, yes. It was ET, and it's evolved now. It's a
religious book.
What's the malevolent is the bad one, right?
Yes.
A malevolent non-physical entity, like a demon, basically.
Yes.
And even the Air Force group, whatever, it's like they're the angels or they're the demons. They're not they've always been here, and they're not from a different planet. They're here, and they're interdimensional, and they've always been guiding us. They've been guiding us along, or at their hands, or whatever,
Yes, interesting stuff.
Right. You can come to that conclusion from 10 or 20 different inputs. Whatever input you might subscribe to, they will have some form of that as the main. Well, we're coming to this conclusion with a great deal of debate, a great deal of consideration, or when they did the other thing with best available science, things like that. Yeah.
Best available technology. Yeah. Anyways, we definitely put a marker there too for the marker. Marker.
I was so excited when the UFO stuff started coming in, and now I'm like, you had to go there with it. Come on, you're ruining a perfectly good story.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're ruining a perfectly good story. Yes, they are. Okay, exhaustion and drama fatigue. I felt personally, yes, I did feel that one. and have had reports and heard comments among people I know, people in the street and some media outlets. It is not a mild passing thing. It can be life-changing in that people will make huge decisions while feeling this way, when in fact it's not a personal crisis at all, but an artificial one. And I was looking at, how does it come about?
Tell me.
Well, it's like, I'm very, like, I have my antennas out all the time with regards to frequencies, energies, and things. And I was glad that I hadn't been affected by it, although I had heard other people saying that they were going into exhaustion, they couldn't get up in the morning, and,
I really don't know how many times I found out the world's going to end next week.
That too, right? So, in other words,
every other thing is going to end it.
The solar eclipse was going to end it.
Oh, the eclipse was going to end it. We had the Northern Lights. That was definitely going to end it.
A solar flare was going to end it. Another one, different one. Some sort of earthquake. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that was going to end the world. Ending.
I mean, I've been hearing about them since 2012.
That's true.
And it's like, okay, that one didn't work. How about this one?
Yes.
Oh, it's just been delayed. Oh,
yes.
We just started the calendar wrong. It's really in 5 more years.
Yes, it was 2017 for a while.
We messed up. We just messed up on our calendar. That's all. Mm-hmm. We're bad at math.
Yes.
So the end of the world's really coming. We just mathematically did it wrong.
Yeah. Always been postponed for a while because not everybody's ready.
There was a thing in the 12th century and the calendars all got, messed up.
Yes. Augustus.
Yeah, somebody messed up and added some months in there.
Yeah. Augustus and
so our
Julius.
time is all calculated wrong.
Augustus did
did it. Cleverly. I messed up the end of the world.
Yeah. Anyway,
so now you don't want to be like the crying wolf guy where the actual message comes and you don't listen. But there's no, I don't think that's the nature of our split. But it has been the nature of past splits. So
yes.
I think that might be where it gains its traction.
Yes,
could be.
Yes. Anyways.
Drama fatigue. I'm done with it. End of the world again? Okay, well, see you after that.
Yes.
Just don't quit your jobs, all I'm saying.
Don't quit your job.
Don't quit your day job at the end of the world. Don't run up your credit card because it's going to be over tomorrow.
Wow.
People do that.
They do. Yes, yeah. I've seen that happen. The end of the world fatigue, well, it did come into my life. I was shocked, actually. Like, whoa, oh my gosh, this is powerful.
Yes.
And it came in very interestingly through listening to a podcast. And I think it was wrapped in certain energies, that podcast. And then I made a connection, like an energetic focus. I looked at this guy. And when I had imaginings of interviewing him, so we would connect and interview with him, right? And as soon as I did that, it's almost like my whole frequency went to poo-poo land.
I remember.
Yeah. It was really bad. And I was like, this is really curious. Why is my frequency so low? And I couldn't even get out of bed. It was like a deep depression type energy. And I was like, this is really odd. Where did it come from? I started following the energy lines, And then I saw it, and I saw his face. I thought, oh, you little
stinker bugger.
So going, no, we're not going to interview. Go away. Go. Instantly, it was gone.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't wait a second. It was gone. And I was perfectly fine again. And that type of thing people are doing, connecting with individuals or movies or shows or interactions and co-creations that are in poopy land. And really, you have to pull your energies out of there. You have to, connect at the light only.
Right.
You don't have to connect light dark. You can just connect with the light, man. Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty then.
The conflicting AI equation.
Is it good? Is it bad? Has also been very interesting to me. From AI entering our lives on most, if not all, the search engines on the internet, to the new Apple devices heavily implementing and supporting AI in their new generation of devices, and an infamous ad that showed the destruction of human art and forums to be replaced with one of their devices, to movies that contain both the destructive and scary AI, as well as the friendly, supportive AI. AI, man.
What can I say?
Yeah. So I do have something to say.
I hope you do.
Right. Technology, including AI, and us as human beings are inevitable. Human beings process, human beings create, they use tools, and they evolve those tools. AI and humans are a match made in heaven or hell. When you have like dark, you're going to have one in hell and one in heaven, right? But when you don't have the dark, it is part of who we and what we are. We can't help it. It's going to happen. It's just done. You cannot avoid it. And therefore you have to use your discernment in this time when the drivers of that technology are playing dark games. You have to use your discernment to make sure that you use things in a way that doesn't feed that darkness. Yeah. And one of the ways in which you might be feeding that darkness, and a lot of people that I know are, is to have the split pro against the war. All technology is evil. We have to destroy it all. And the other one is people who, all technology is good. We have to implement it in everything. Right? So both of those, when you see that type of, what's it called? The opposites?
Yep.
It's like, question that.
Right.
So, and it's a clever one because, like I said, technology and humans go hand in hand. I remember many years ago, I can't remember who I was talking with. I think it might have been Daniela. And I said, well, I don't eat processed food. And she said, Mom, you do. And I says, what do you mean? Says, when you eat a carrot, do you cut it? Do you cook it? I says, yeah. Says, well, the moment that you cut the carrot, that carrot's been processed.
Facts.
And I was like, what? What? So that is part of our human nature. We process stuff, right? We take things and we process them. And then we ingest them or use them or whatever's. Yeah. So, for example, I think it was actually about 25 years ago. I had a Windows computer, and it came with a firewall system. I think it was McAfee. And when I was installing my system, because I used to do a lot of network administration and stuff, I looked at that program and I saw that it was bad. It was a bad program, like evil. It was there to disrupt. I said I refused to put it on. And people got very scared. And they said, well, how do you make sure that your emails don't get corrupted? How do you make sure that your computer doesn't get infected? And I says, well, I'm going to be diligent. I'm not going to open emails that I suspect are sending you to a place that is going to infect you with these bugs. And I'm going to delete, when I deleted that program, I think in my system, we only got once. Once we got the system hacked and broken down. And it was one of my kids had opened a pornographic site. Like a link, to watch a nasty video. And it wiped out his laptop. He wiped out his entire laptop. And I looked at it and I recognized the blue screen that was up, right? And what it was selling. And I looked at it. It was actually his girlfriend. And I looked at her and I said, all right, so you were watching a video, some sort of really perverse pornographic thing that you wanted to look at. You followed the link, didn't you? And she went, red. It's okay. So here's the thing. Our computers in this house, they don't have firewalls because those bring in malware. But you have to be very diligent. And this is the type of things that you cannot do. So I gave her the list again, which I had done when she started using the laptop. And she said, okay. So I wiped the system, cleaned it up, reset everything, reinstalled Windows, do all the things. And I gave her, I remember a site that you could scan it with. And that's one of the reasons I never download emails to my devices, to my computers. I always use the website email programs. Mm-hmm. I never download them. So it's like there was light dark being injected there right from back when. But when I looked at it and I saw it, I was able to navigate it. I mean, this whole story is about navigating technology so that it doesn't pull you through into the darkness. Yeah. And it's not subtle, right? These things are not subtle. It's not like you have to really look to see these things. They're clear. And for example, recently I started a brand new account on X Twitter for my books, my novels. Not all my books, just the novels. So I started a brand new one. It has no data about me. I haven't liked anything. I haven't watched anything. It's just brand new. No data behind it. And every time I open it to post something, it is so dark and perverted.
Shocking, right?
It's shocking. So the base of that channel is so bad.
I had to work hard. I opened a Twitter account too because I think I had one way years ago, but I never used it, not once. And then recently I checked in with it again and I turned it on and I looked and I had to go through and physically block every single thing that was appalling. Yeah. Because there was a lot. It was like, what? Why are you showing me that? That's terrible. It's like...
Yes, really bad stuff.
The worst kind of things really that you see on the worst type of movies, but in real life.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, block. And I didn't have to do that before. But here I had to.
Yeah.
And after I blocked everything for about a week, it started to clean up. But geez Louise, it was insane.
Yeah. And it's very interesting to me. I mean, a lot of this stuff was sexually perverted. And when we had to look for platforms that will host us without cutting off the information that we want to give, censored information that they won't delete our account because we're talking about those topics. They also have those items in them.
Perversions
and things. So you kind of... It reminds... You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember those people that had a channel like... Well, many years ago. Let's say this. Many years ago, Google wanted me to put in ads in my website. Okay? Now, Google doesn't call anybody anymore, probably, but... And I don't know if it called people then, but I got a phone call from Google selling me ads on my website. They wanted me to put ads on my website. And I said, no, I'm never going to put ads in my website. I had tried it. I tried ads in a couple of sites. And then I noticed that things got really bad very quickly in the ads. If I opened my website, it was all beautiful. But if another person opened my website and they showed me the screenshot, it was nasty stuff, really nasty, repulsive ads.
Like pulling off toenail stuff.
Yes.
It's like, who's advertising that?
Warts, toenails.
Why would you advertise that?
You know, all this nasty stuff. So it's like, okay, I know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
And then I said, no, I'm not gonna, right? So I didn't do it. And also, when I saw, like years later, I saw this other people's website and that was all coming up. And then they put up a clip of an interview with me. And then they took it down, right? And I called them and I said, hey, dudes, like, how come you pulled down the interview you had with me that was on your website? And they said, well, we get over $1 million from Google Ads. And they called us and told us that their advertisers weren't happy about that interview. So we had to pull it down. But it's still there. It's just that it's behind the paywall.
Remember that happened recently with our Sasquatch friend. We put up an interview with him he put it in his channel. And he had to pull it down after 2 days.
He did, yeah.
Because he got a copyright violation on his own name on his own channel.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, same game.
So it's like what you see is very much filtered, right? And technology can go that way, but you can also bypass it and do other things. Right. And if it wasn't for the technology advancements that we've had in the last 20 years, we wouldn't be recording this video. I mean, this podcast, we wouldn't have this capacity. All the technology we have here used to be in the most advanced sound studios or video film studios on the planet. Like the computational power.
And not very long ago, in the most advanced science fiction novels on the planet.
Right. So use it well. Yeah. So anyways, the AI being good or being bad, I know it's everywhere. I was actually putting together a post. So I have this app that I pay for where I can put in words and my pictures and edit them, make them cool and all these type of things really quickly and fast and stuff. And then suddenly it came up with, hey, we got this new feature. You can put in a sentence and we'll come up with a picture. I know what that is. You know, it's like the AI pictures, right? The generated graphics. And I was like, wait, what? So yeah, it's everywhere. All the search engines have it. Wow. Yeah. All the websites, all the things. AI censoring everything. So yeah, use it with care. Okay. Again,
these items are not one-off things that you just have to search heavily to find.
Right. These are strong, powerful, and impinging your attention, even if you're not tuned into the public opinion outlets. The reason I released the Looking at 2024 video, and I'm looking at what is happening so far, is because by becoming aware of the larger picture, the larger stage, we're able to make conscious decisions about our lives. When we know what is actually happening, we're no longer leaves blowing in the wind. That's it for my article. We will discuss this further on our podcast at drivingtotherest.com, and we will go full on deep dive and uncensored with our expert panelists on the token $8 a month paid wall for our podcast.
Okay.
See you there.
See you there.
Be there or be somewhere else.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you, honey.
Love you. There was a machine sent to Mars, I think it was, by the Chinese, or the moon, I can't remember.
Moon, backside of the moon.
And when we were looking at it, it was all CGI, it's computer-generated imagery.
That was quite hilarious.
And they were looking at it all excited, and I was like, that is all... I saw it and thought, oh, it's all pretend, I said to him. They're not even sending anything. They just watch, and then afterwards they're going to say, oh, it failed, it crashed, or whatever. And he said, no, they're just using the CGI because the connection got lost. Yeah. And then when the CGI lands, everybody cheers and everything. I'm like, yeah, no, right? And then, sure enough, like a day or a few hours later, they said, oh, it crashed and we lost connection. We don't know what happened.